All right, guys, you remember that $5,000 shopping spree giveaway we did a while back? After a lot of back and forth with the winner, by the way, Murray B in Australia. I'm happy to send stuff down under, but it's gonna cost me a lot, mate. Anyway, here we are at Micro Center. He sent us a huge spreadsheet. So we've gotta go get it all now. Don't they have people we can pay for this? The Phanteks G360A PC case features a mesh front panel for ample airflow, room for full-length GPUs up to 400mm long, 360mm radiator support, and integrated DRGB lighting compatible with all motherboard RGB lighting controllers. To see the full list of specs and colors available, follow the link in the description below. So one of the things with the giveaway, and we'll probably do something like this again, this was fun, is you had $5,000 to spend at Micro Center on anything that you wanted. It didn't have to just be PC parts. And I kind of leaned into that in my giveaway video. I'm like, you want to build a system? Cool. You want to build 2 systems? Cool. That's exactly what he did. He's building 2 gaming systems and is getting parts for his setup, like RGB lights, even some 3D printer parts. So that's one of the awesome things about Micro Center. And yes, this does sound like a baked-in ad because this place is awesome. You can literally buy anything tech-related here. 3D printing, monitors, laptops, mobile gaming, cell phones, obviously build your own PC parts, and anything, TVs, it's all here. So we have got a really long list. Well, let's go ahead and start with the computer parts. All right, so for a case, he only went with 1 case. He's reusing another one. Again, price limits and stuff. He went with the Thermaltake Core V21, which is a micro ATX case that will fit the parts that he chose. Hopefully he went with a micro ATX motherboard. So he's going with an AMD rig, 2 B550M motherboards, ATX motherboards. I bet you he used their configurator. I would if I were building a system and I didn't know how parts work together. Micro Center. So because he chose to build 2 systems, like I said, he went with in my opinion, like one of the best mid-range CPUs that you can possibly get, actually upper mid-range, almost high-end CPU, 2 Ryzen 7 5800Xs. Yeah, AM5 is right around the corner, but you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to take advantage of the amazing prices of current gen stuff. You don't have to waste money on new gen stuff, especially when you're building 2 systems like this. You know, when I started this giveaway, the inventory hadn't actually normalized like it is now. So clearly there's plenty to choose from. He chose Asus TUF Gaming RTX 3060. So it's pretty high-end 3060 card, big old cooler, extra long PCB, custom design, overclocking friendly. It's not gaudy, looks nice. So there's this. He's only going with 1 GPU for this because of the fact that he already has a 1060 he's going to be using on another system that's only for 1080p gaming. So he chose to utilize that budget in, like I said, kind of the full setup. So if you're wondering why we're building 2 systems only getting 1 GPU, it's because he's actually recycling some stuff, which I actually think is kind of noble. I think a lot of people would have had $5 grand to spend. I think someone just died. I think a lot of people would have probably spent the whole $5 grand on 1 crazy system, but this one, he's spreading it out, which this is actually this whole spirit of this giveaway, and I think it's awesome. I didn't lean him this way whatsoever. He built the spreadsheet, we tweaked it, we went to a bunch of back and forth with very crazy time zone differences, and this is what we came up with. Man, before we talk about storage, it's just so nice seeing this again. I mean, this stuff all looks pretty nice now considering the 4090 prices, right? And 4080 and the fake 4080. So anyway, storage, he's going with a 2 terabyte and a 500 gigabyte storage for one of his computers. These are M5 Pluses from Crucial. This is like, to be honest, one of the only SSDs we use. We use P5 Crucials and then MP600s from Corsair. And then his second system is just a single 500 gigabyte P5 Plus 4.0 NVMe SSD. Like I said, he's recycling some parts for the second system, but man, look at this. Just, if you live near a Micro Center, you want to buy a graphics card, you can see they got plenty. Now for RAM, I think this is kind of interesting. I'm not going to really question it because DDR4 is as cheap as it is now, but he did go with 2 kits, 32 gigabyte kits of 3600 megahertz Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro SL RAM. So it is Ryzen optimized, which is kind of nice to have with an AMD CPU because it's guaranteed to work with all the timings and such as advertised at. I don't know if 32 gigabytes was necessary for these systems, but I don't know what he's gonna be doing with the CPU. The CPU is plenty strong to be doing creative work. I also do know he does 3D printing, so maybe he does some modeling. So maybe he needs the RAM for modeling and stuff. I didn't question it. He got to choose. This is what he chose for each one of the systems. So in terms of main components, you can see same motherboard, same CPU, same RAM, same type of storage, different quantities, and then the 3060 TUF on one of the systems. I think he's running a 1060 on the other one. Power supply though, we do need a power supply. He only needs one. Again, he's reusing another, I think it's a Cooler Master power supply or a Corsair power supply in another system. So we need to find the one that he chose. So he went with the Seasonic Focus 80 Plus Gold 750 watt power supply. Pretty good mid-range. I say mid-range. Seasonic is not a mid-range brand, but you can spend a lot on a power supply. You can really overspend. So I think he made a good choice here. It's 80 Plus Gold, 750 watts. Definitely more than he needs for this system, but if he decides to upgrade the graphics card later, put the 3060 in the older rig and get a bigger graphics card, there should be plenty, as long as he's not planning on trying to run a 4090 though. I like how mine's the only one with the anti-theft. Yeah, I know everyone's dying to get it, but you don't have to steal it, guys. Okay, so for a cooler, he chose two NH-U12S Noctua coolers. These barely fit in the case. We did verify fitment for both the cooler and the graphics card in the case that he chose, because it is a micro ATX case. There's about 40 extra millimeters of length for the graphics card, about extra 15 or so millimeters of height for the cooler. So as long as he makes sure that it fits in the other case he's planning on using, he's got plenty of cooling for this CPU and more to come. If he ever was to choose to upgrade to AM5, it uses the same AM4 bracket, so he'd be able to use this cooler. And obviously, as you can see, they've got plenty of Noctua coolers here. So basically, the rest of his list is kind of like random stuff he's using for either 3D printing or trying to make his game room office space look that much more gamery. So let's just get the rest of the stuff and then show you what else he chose. I should start doing karaoke. RTFM show, Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific. So like I said, for his setup, he got an LG UHD monitor. It's a 4K monitor. He wants all the eye candies and stuff. So it's HDR, it's 4K, it's 60 hertz FreeSync, not a high refresh rate, but then again, he's running a 3060 on it. So he should be fine with DLSS and all that sort of stuff, depending on the titles that he plays. He got an LG SN5Y soundbar. So obviously he needs some sound in there. He got an entire bucket of Philips Hue RGB stuff. So there's that. It's kind of funny. I wasn't gonna talk him out of this, but this costs more than if he had gotten like another like 3070 on top. Hue is expensive, but it's his money to choose. He chose what he wanted. It wasn't my job to sway him towards anything. It was just to check for compatibilities and make sure he's not making some sort of egregious error with like trying to buy Intel CPU and an AMD motherboard or something like that. So RGB up the butt. This is a Creality 3D printing enclosure for temperature control. This right here is also an upgrade for one of the Enders. It's a dual Z access kit. So for the Ender 3, like I said, he does 3D printing. And then a lot of random stuff. So dual drive unit, direct drive unit for the 3D printer. The exact same one we use on our Ender, by the way. Got it here. Obviously he solders. Random soldering iron tip cleaner. This was, he said, was kind of a nice to have. It was $100 nice to have, but this is an aluminum W Touch trackpad for PC and Windows. So cool. I don't know. It's, like I said, his money. And then other random stuff, digital clock. He also got the ProTech iFixit. Not LTT screwdriver. This right here is also a BL Touch. So it's a leveling BL Touch kit for the Ender. So he's obviously taking the opportunity to upgrade one of his 3D printers. He got a Logitech G610 Orion with red switches keyboard. And then he also got this guy here, which is kind of nice. It's a retro keyboard. So it's the ASIO retro keyboard where these are like the round, almost like typewriter keys. Not the cheapest keyboard on the planet, but neat nonetheless. Oh yeah, forgot. The Astro A40 headset. Not a cheap headset by any means. It's got a mix amp and everything. So if he was gonna be doing live streaming, he can control game volume and his mic volume independently on there. And again, his money to spend. That's what he came up with. So we need to ring all this up now and see what it comes out to. $4,949.82. So technically he had $50.18 left to spend. I'm gonna spend it on me. No, I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna do that. So anyway, there we go. Fun fact, you guys aren't gonna see a build video. He did not, look, this is like the exact length of the counter. Or like an average CVS receipt when you buy a pack of gum. So anyway, he doesn't want me to build it. He wants to build it himself. The second computer is for someone in his family that he wants to game with, so he wants the enjoyment of building it all. So what I'm gonna do, I'll probably do a separate video on how to bench test equipment because of the fact that so many people are now building new computers for the first time after the pandemic shortages have all kind of normalized now. Because the last thing I want to have happen is I send these packages, which I'm probably at this point just gonna make a crate and put it on a pallet and just literally have it cost a fortune to get there knowing it'll all arrive intact, is get there and find out a motherboard or CPU or the GPU or the RAM or something is not working properly. Because we cannot just quickly ship it back and forth without it costing more than the part costs. So I will bench test the main components to make sure they're working fine, and then off to Australia they'll go. So I know a lot of you really wanted to see a build video, but again, I said in the giveaway, I could build it for you if you want me to, otherwise you can build it yourself. Murray has chosen to build it for himself. So there you go. That is, hope it all fits in my trunk because that's a lot of stuff. We're gonna get out of here. Micro Center's getting ready to open and I need to buy a new Xbox controller because I broke it playing Rocket League the other day, but I think anyone that plays Rocket League probably knows the struggle. So I keep Microsoft in business by buying Xbox controllers that I break because I say it's the controller's fault and not Phil being better than me. Like if you understand that struggle, and subscribe if it's your first time seeing because it'll make me feel better. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.